Yo, so I was just telling someone the other day about how different federal work is from what we do in private security, right? Like completely different worlds, man.
Yeah, that's facts. I mean, the mindset is totally different. The resources, the backup, everything changes when you're on your own.
You made that jump though, right? From the badge to the briefcase? I know you were federal before you got into private sector work.
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't exactly voluntary. You know what I mean? It's not like I woke up one day and said I want to give up my pension.
Oh, word? So something went down that pushed you out? Man, I gotta hear how that went down because I know that transition ain't smooth for everybody.
No, it definitely wasn't smooth. There's a whole story behind why I left, and honestly, it connects to everything that happened after at the club.
All right, hold up though. Before we get into all that, let me set the scene for people listening because this story is wild. It's 2 a.m. at an upscale club in Miami. Luis Reyes, former federal agent turned private security consultant, is doing a routine walkthrough of the VIP section when he notices something off about the cleaning crew that's moving through the space. They're moving too fast, way too organized for regular club staff, and they're carrying these industrial trash bags that look way too heavy for just bottle service cleanup and regular garbage. When Luis checks the security footage later that night, he realizes he's not protecting a nightclub anymore. He's standing in the middle of a distribution hub, and the people running it, they already know exactly who he used to be.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down, man. I'm watching these dudes on camera, and my whole federal training is screaming at me that something's wrong here.
So walk me back first, though. How long were you federal? What were you doing before all this club stuff even started?
I spent 8 years as a federal agent, working task force stuff mostly. Organized crime, cross-border operations, financial crimes, all that heavy investigation work that takes months or years to build cases.
That's serious work right there. You're talking about the kind of cases that actually put people away for decades. What made you leave? That's a solid career to walk away from, bro.
So there was this case that went completely sideways on us. I can't get into all the details because some of it's still sealed, but it involved a confidential informant who got killed while working for us.
Damn, that's the worst thing that can happen when you're running informants. You feel responsible for that person's safety, and when they go down, that weight stays with you forever.
Exactly, and the agency wanted someone to take the fall for it. They needed a scapegoat to show they handled it properly, and I was the case agent, so I was the easy target.
So they tried to throw you under the bus for something that probably wasn't even your fault. That's how these organizations work, though. They'll protect themselves before they protect their people.
That's exactly what it was, man. I refused to take the fall for decisions that were made above my pay grade, so I resigned before they could bury me in paperwork and investigations.
How'd you end up doing nightclub security, though? That's a hell of a downgrade from federal work. No offense to anyone doing club security, but you know what I mean.
Now, you're right, it was a massive downgrade, but I needed work fast because I got a family to feed, 2 kids, mortgage, all that. I couldn't just sit around waiting for the perfect job.
I feel that when you got bills coming in, you gotta take what's available. So who connected you with the club gig?
A former colleague from the agency hooked me up with this private security firm that did high-end venue protection. They needed someone with federal experience to upgrade their operations, make them look more professional.
So you thought it was gonna be easy money? Just stand around, look intimidating, break up drunk fights, that kind of thing?
That's exactly what I thought, bro. I'm thinking this is going to be the easiest job I ever had after spending years doing surveillance and building federal cases against dangerous people.
But you still had that federal mindset though, right? Like you can't just turn off 8 years of training and investigation skills when you walk into a new job.
Man, that's the thing that got me in trouble. I couldn't turn it off. I'm supposed to be just watching the door and checking IDs, but my brain is constantly analyzing patterns and looking for criminal activity.
When did you start noticing something was off at this club? Like what were the first red flags that popped up for you?
First week on the job, I noticed this bike club crew that comes in every Thursday night. Same guys, same table in the VIP section, same routine every single time.
Okay, but bike clubs go to clubs all the time though. What made this different? Were they causing problems or starting fights with people?
Now, see, that's what was weird about it. They're not drinking much, not causing any problems, not hitting on women, just sitting there like they're on duty or something, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When people are in a club but they're not actually enjoying themselves, they're working. They're there for a purpose that ain't entertainment.
Exactly. You can tell the difference between someone who's there to party and someone who's there on business. These guys were definitely there on business, and they had this presence about them.
What else were you seeing? Because I know that wasn't the only thing setting off your radar if you're used to investigating organized crime.
So then I start noticing the strippers are running credit card scams. They're swiping cards multiple times, splitting tips with bartenders who are processing fake charges. The whole operation is right there in front of everyone.
You spotted that immediately because you used to investigate financial crimes, right? So you're seeing the pattern of how they're moving money through the system.
Yeah, I spent 2 years on a financial crimes task force, so I know what credit card fraud looks like. I could see it happening in real time, and I'm thinking, okay, this is just regular club hustle stuff.
Right, because every club has some level of that going on. That's almost expected in that environment, so you're not thinking it's connected to something bigger yet.
Not yet, but then I start seeing this graffiti in the alley behind the club. Someone keeps tagging the wall with symbols I recognize from my task force days, gang symbols and cartel markings.
Oh man, when you start seeing cartel markings, that's a whole different level. Did you recognize which organization it was connected to?
Yeah, I knew exactly which group it was because I'd worked cases involving them before. But I'm trying to tell myself it's just random graffiti, maybe someone messing around, not actually connected to the club.
You're trying to convince yourself it's nothing because you don't want to deal with it. You just want to do your job and go home to your family, right?
Exactly, bro. I'm not trying to be a hero anymore. I already lost my federal career trying to do the right thing, so I'm just trying to keep my head down and collect a paycheck.
But something else happened that made you realize you couldn't ignore it anymore, right? What was the thing that really set off all the alarms?
The cleaning crew, man, that's what really got me. They show up at exactly 2:15 a.m. every Friday and Saturday night, and they're way too efficient, too coordinated for regular cleaners.
What do you mean too coordinated? Like they had a system that was too smooth for people who were just supposed to be mopping floors and taking out trash?
Exactly. They move like a military unit or something. Everyone has a specific role, specific timing, no wasted movement. That's not how regular cleaning crews work, especially not at 2 a.m. when everyone's tired.
So your federal training is telling you these aren't actually cleaners. They're using the cleaning company as a cover for something else. Did you check into the company?
Yeah, I pulled up the employee records because I had access to the club's administrative system. The cleaning company doesn't exist, bro. It's a shell corporation, no real business address, nothing.
Oh man, so now you know for sure something illegal is going down. What did you do? Did you start documenting it, or were you still trying to stay out of it?
I should have walked away right then, quit the job and found something else. But my federal instincts kicked in, and I started watching the security footage, documenting everything I was seeing.
See, that's the problem with having that investigator mindset. You can't just let it go. You gotta know what's happening even when it's smarter to walk away and mind your business.
That's exactly what got me in trouble, man. I'm sitting there reviewing footage, and I realize they're not cleaning at all. They're moving product through the club.
What kind of product are we talking about here? Like, what were you seeing on the cameras that told you what they were moving?
Heavy bags going out through the kitchen exit, light bags coming in through the VIP entrance. The weight difference is obvious when you watch how they're carrying them, and the timing is too precise to be random.
So they're bringing in money or something light, taking out product or something heavy. That's a classic distribution setup right there, using the club as a transfer point between locations.
Exactly what I thought. The club is perfect for it because there's so much legitimate traffic, so many people coming and going. Nobody's going to notice a few extra bags moving around.
At what point did you realize this wasn't just some small-time operation? When did it click that this was bigger than you thought?
When I connected it all together, the bike club security, the credit card scams, cleaning money, the graffiti marking territory, the fake cleaning crew moving product. This was a full operation running through one location.
So every piece you were seeing separately was actually part of one big machine. Were you thinking about reporting this to your old federal contacts, or were you trying to stay out of it?
Man, I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to make the call, but I burned a lot of bridges when I left the agency. I wasn't sure anyone would even take my call seriously.
Plus, you need the job, right? You can't just blow up your own income when you got a family depending on you to bring home money every week.
That's what I kept telling myself. I'm just going to keep my head down, do my job, not get involved in whatever else is happening around me. But that didn't last long.
So when did they approach you? When did the people running this operation let you know they were aware of what you were noticing?
Week 3, the club owner calls me into his office. This guy, Victor, mid-50s, real calm demeanor. Too calm for someone who's supposed to be just running a nightclub, you know?
Yeah, when the club owner is too calm, that means he's used to handling serious situations. He's not worried about drunk customers. He's worried about bigger problems than that.
Exactly, and the way he carried himself, I could tell he was connected to something way bigger than the club. So I walk into his office, and he slides this folder across the desk.
What was in the folder? Please tell me it wasn't what I think it was.
It was my entire federal career, bro. Every case I worked, every operation I was part of, including the one that ended my career. The informant's name, the whole investigation, everything that was supposed to be confidential.
Oh man, so they'd been investigating you the whole time. They knew exactly who you were before they even hired you for this job.
That's what hit me hardest, realizing this wasn't random. They specifically wanted someone with my background, someone who was burned by the agency and needed work desperately enough to not ask too many questions.
What did Victor say to you? Like, how did he explain why they had all this information on you?
He just looked at me and said, "We know who you are, Luis. We know why you left. We know you need this job. Real calm, no threats, just stating facts like he was talking about the weather.
That's scarier than if he'd been aggressive about it because it shows they're professional. They're not some street crew making threats. They're organized and they've done their homework on you.
Yeah, and then he explained the whole operation to me. The club is a transfer point for moving product from the port to distribution points inland. Nothing major in his words, just logistics.
Nothing major, he says, like they're running a delivery service instead of a smuggling operation. What exactly did they want from you?
He broke down the whole structure for me. The bike club guys are security for the organization, making sure nobody interferes with the transfers. The strippers running credit card scams are actually cleaning money through the system.
So every piece you noticed was exactly what you thought it was. They weren't even trying to hide it from you at that point. They were just explaining how it all worked together.
Right, and then Victor made me an offer. $5,000 a week to use my federal training to improve the security protocols and watch for law enforcement surveillance.
$5,000 a week? Man, that's serious money, especially when you just lost your federal salary and you're desperate for income. What did he say your actual job would be?
He said I'm not doing anything illegal, I'm just consulting, keeping them safe from law enforcement, using my knowledge of how federal investigations work to help them avoid detection.
But that is illegal, though. That's conspiracy and aiding a criminal enterprise. Did you feel like you had a choice in that moment, or did it feel like he was telling you what was going to happen?
I knew I should refuse, walk out right then and never come back, but I'm sitting there thinking about my 2 kids, my mortgage, my wife who's depending on me to provide after I threw away my federal career.
That's the trap right there, man. They put you in a position where saying no means your family suffers, but saying yes means you're crossing a line you can't come back from.
Exactly, and I convinced myself it was temporary. I'm just going to do this until I can find something else, save up some money, then get out clean before anything serious happens.
But it's never temporary, though. That's what people don't understand. Once you're in, they own you, and getting out becomes harder the longer you stay. How long were you doing this before everything went bad?
2 weeks, man. I only did it for 2 weeks before the whole thing exploded. I'm helping them improve their camera placement, teaching them how to spot surveillance, all this federal knowledge I'm giving to criminals.
What happened after those 2 weeks? What was the incident that changed everything for you?
Saturday night, the club is absolutely packed. I'm in the security office, monitoring the cameras like I always do, watching the crowd, checking for problems, just doing my job.
What time was this? Was this during peak hours when the club is at maximum capacity?
Around midnight, yeah. The place is wall-to-wall people, music's loud, everyone's drinking and having a good time. And then I see this group of guys I don't recognize entering through the main entrance.
What made them stand out? Like in a packed club with hundreds of people, what was it about these specific guys that caught your attention on the cameras?
They're moving wrong, you know what I mean? Too purposeful, too spread out, like they're executing a tactical plan. Everyone else is just wandering around looking for their friends or heading to the bar.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When people move with purpose in a club environment, they're there for business. How many guys were there and what were they doing?
6 guys, and they're fanning out into specific positions around the club, hands in their jackets, eyes scanning the VIP section, not looking at the women or the bar, just focused on their target.
Oh man, so you immediately know something's about to go down. What did you do? Did you radio the bike club security or try to handle it yourself?
I grabbed the radio and called it in. We got a problem. North entrance, 6 guys, they're strapped. I can see the bulges under their jackets where they're carrying. And I know we got maybe 30 seconds before this pops off.
Did the bike club guys respond? Were they able to intercept these dudes before they got to whoever they were targeting in the VIP section?
Before anyone could even respond to my radio call, the shooting started, bro. Just boom, boom, boom. Multiple guns going off, people screaming, complete chaos in seconds.
Where were you when the shooting started? Were you still in the security office watching it on cameras, or did you move toward the action?
I drew my weapon, which I still carry from my federal days, and I started moving toward the VIP section. Old instincts kicked in. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just reacting like I'm back on a task force operation.
Walk me through what you were seeing as you moved through the club. Like, what was the scene? How many people were shooting? Where was everyone trying to go?
Absolute chaos, man. People are screaming, stampeding toward the exits, knocking each other down, trampling over whoever falls. Glasses shattering, bottles breaking, the music's still playing, which makes it even more surreal.
That's the worst part about club shootings. The music keeps going, so you can't even hear clearly what's happening. Could you tell where the shooters were or who they were targeting?
They were targeting the VIP section where the organization's people were sitting. This was a hit, a rival crew trying to take out the local boss who runs the distribution operation for this territory.
So this wasn't random violence. This was a calculated attack by a different organization trying to move in on the territory. What happened next? Did you engage the shooters?
I'm moving through the crowd, and I see one of the shooters taking aim at a booth where two of the strippers are trapped. They can't get out because everyone's blocking the exits, and this dude is about to light them up.
Oh man, so you had to make a split-second decision right there. You seeing this about to happen, and you got maybe 1 second to decide what you're gonna do.
I didn't even think about it, bro. I took the shot, 2-round center mass, and the gunman went down. It was pure muscle memory from federal training. I didn't make a conscious decision. My body just reacted.
How did the other shooters react when they realized someone was returning fire? Did they scatter, or did they try to engage you?
They scattered immediately. They weren't expecting armed resistance. They thought they were going to hit their target and get out clean. When shots started coming back at them, they ran for the exits like everyone else.
When the smoke cleared, what was the situation? How many people were hit? How many were dead?
3 people dead, man. The guy I shot, one of the bike club security guys who tried to return fire and got hit, and a civilian who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That civilian death, that's the part that probably haunts you the most, right? Because you can rationalize shooting the gunman, that's self-defense and protecting others, but an innocent person dying is different.
Yeah, that's what gets me. Some guy just out with his friends, probably celebrating a birthday or something, and he's dead because of a war between criminal organizations that he had nothing to do with.
Where were you standing when it was over? Like, what was that moment like when the shooting stopped and you realized what just happened?
I'm standing in the middle of the VIP section, guns still drawn, people running past me screaming, and I'm looking down at the body of the guy I just killed, and it hits me that I just shot someone to protect a criminal operation.
That's a heavy realization, bro, because in that moment you crossed a line from being a security consultant to being an active participant in their war. What happened after the shooting? Did the cops show up?
Police showed up within minutes, but Victor already had it handled. There were lawyers there before I even gave my first statement to the responding officers, like they were waiting for something like this to happen.
So the organization had lawyers on standby ready to protect their people. How did they explain what happened? What story did they tell the police about why you shot that guy?
The story was simple and clean. I'm a licensed security professional who returned fire to protect civilians during an armed robbery attempt. The lawyers had it all worked out before I even opened my mouth.
Did the police buy that story? I mean, 3 people dead in a nightclub, that's going to bring serious investigation and questions about what really happened.
The dead shooter had a criminal record. The security footage, which had been edited, by the way, backed up the story completely. And 3 witnesses who were all on the organization's payroll confirmed every detail.
So they controlled the whole narrative from top to bottom. The footage, the witnesses, the story, everything was coordinated to make you look like a hero instead of someone protecting criminals.
Exactly, and within 48 hours I was cleared. Self-defense, justified shooting, no charges filed. The lawyers made it all disappear like it was nothing, like they'd done this 100 times before.
But that's when you realized you were trapped, right? Because now they made sure you walked away clean from killing someone, which means they own you completely.
That's exactly what hit me, bro. I killed someone for these people, and they made sure I didn't face any consequences. Now I owe them, whether I want to or not.
How did the organization react after everything went down? Did they treat you different? Did Victor say anything to you about what happened?
Victor called me back into his office a few days later. Same calm demeanor, same quiet voice, like we're discussing the weather instead of a triple homicide. That just happened in his club.
What did he say to you? Did he thank you for protecting his operation, or did he make it clear what he expected from you going forward?
He said, yeah, you're one of us now, Luis. That crew that hit us. They're connected to a different family trying to take over our territory. This isn't over. Just stated it as fact. No emotion, no drama.
So he's telling you that more violence is coming and you're expected to be part of the defense. Were you in deeper after that? Like, did they give you more responsibility?
Yeah, they wanted me to help plan security for all their operations because they knew more attacks were coming from this rival organization. I wasn't just watching cameras anymore. I was planning defensive strategies for a criminal enterprise.
That's when you realized you weren't a security consultant anymore. You were a soldier in their war. How long did you stay in that position before you figured out how to get out?
I knew I had to get out, but I also knew if I just quit, they'd see me as a liability. I knew too much about their operation, their people, their methods. They couldn't just let me walk away.
So, what did you do? How do you extract yourself from something like that when the people you're working for will kill you if they think you're going to talk?
I reached out to a former colleague who's now FBI, someone I worked with on the task force before everything went bad. I told him I had information on a major distribution operation and I needed protection.
That's a risky move, though, because you're admitting you were part of the operation. Did he agree to help you, or did he try to flip it and arrest you for what you'd been doing?
We made a deal. I'd feed them information about the organization, names, locations, financial records, the whole network, in exchange for immunity and witness protection for my family.
How long did you have to gather evidence while still working for the organization? That must have been the most dangerous time, because if they caught you, you're dead immediately.
3 months, man. 3 months of walking this tightrope, pretending to be loyal while I'm secretly documenting everything, copying files, recording conversations, building a federal case against the people who trusted me.
That's intense pressure, bro. Every day you're going in there knowing if they find out what you're doing, they're not just gonna fire you, they're gonna kill you and probably your family too.
I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, constantly paranoid that someone was watching me or that I'd made a mistake and they'd figured it out. My wife knew something was wrong, but I couldn't tell her what was happening.
When did the FBI finally move in? What was the takedown like when they raided the operation?
They hit 5 locations simultaneously, including the club, early morning raids, federal agents everywhere, SWAT teams, the whole show. They arrested 23 people, including Victor, seized drugs, money, weapons, everything.
Where were you when the raids went down? Were you at the club, or had they already pulled you out to protect your cover?
They pulled me and my family out the night before. We left everything behind, our house, our cars, our whole life. Just disappeared into witness protection with whatever we could fit in 2 suitcases.
How long were you in witness protection, and what was that like, just completely starting over with a new identity in a new place?
18 months. New names, new city, new jobs, everything. My kids had to leave their school and their friends with no explanation. My wife had to give up her career. We lost everything because of choices I made.
That's the part people don't think about when they talk about witness protection. It's not just you that pays the price. It's everyone connected to you who has to sacrifice their whole life too.
My daughter was 12, just starting middle school, had her whole friend group, and we ripped her out of that with no warning. She still resents me for it, and I don't blame her.
When you came out of witness protection, where did you end up? Different state, different region. How far did they move you from Miami?
I can't say exactly where, but it's far enough that nobody from that life would ever randomly run into me. Different climate, different culture, different everything from what we knew in Florida.
And you're back working private security again? After everything that happened, you stayed in this industry instead of doing something completely different?
It's what I know, man. It's what I'm trained for. But this time I stay far away from nightclubs, far away from anything that even smells like organized crime. I do corporate security now, boring office buildings and executive protection.
That's probably the smartest move, keeping it clean and simple. Do you ever worry that someone from the organization might find you, or do you feel like enough time has passed that you're safe?
I'll never feel completely safe, bro. I know how these organizations work. They have long memories, and they don't forget people who cooperate with the feds. I'm always watching my back, always aware of my surroundings.
That's gotta be exhausting, living with that constant low-level paranoia. Has anything happened that made you think they might have found you, or has it been quiet since you relocated?
Nothing concrete. But there have been a few moments that made me nervous. Someone following me for a few blocks before turning off. A car that showed up on my street a few times. Probably nothing, but you can't ignore it.
When you have that background and you've seen what these organizations are capable of, every little thing becomes a potential threat. You can't just dismiss it as coincidence because you know better.
Exactly, and that's the price I pay for the choices I made. I tell myself I did the right thing by cooperating with the FBI, but the truth is I only did it to save myself after I got in too deep.
Nah, don't diminish what you did, though. Yeah, you were protecting yourself, but you also took down a major operation and got dangerous people off the street. That counts for something, bro.
I appreciate that. But I also know that civilian who died in that club shooting is still dead because I chose to take a job I should have walked away from the moment I saw the red flags.
That's heavy, man. You carry that weight every day knowing your decisions put you in a position where an innocent person lost their life. What would you tell someone who finds themselves in a similar spot?
Trust your instincts, bro. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. Don't let financial pressure or desperation make you compromise your principles, because once you cross that line, coming back is almost impossible.
That's real advice right there. The money is never worth your life or your freedom, no matter how much they're offering or how desperate your situation is.
And understand that once you're in, getting out is way harder than you think. These organizations don't just let you quit. You become a liability they need to manage, and that usually means eliminating you.
Did any of the people from the organization get convicted after the raids, or did they beat the charges with expensive lawyers?
Most of them took plea deals because the evidence I provided was overwhelming. Victor got 15 years federal time. Some of the bike club guys got 8 into 10. The whole operation got dismantled.
So your cooperation actually resulted in real consequences for these people. That's got to provide some level of satisfaction knowing they're locked up because of what you did.
It does, but it also means they know exactly who's responsible for them being in prison. That's why I'll never be able to let my guard down completely, even years from now.
Have you had any contact with your old federal colleagues since all this went down? Or did that bridge get burned permanently when you left the agency?
A few of them reached out after the case closed, said they respected what I did, even though it took me getting in deep with criminals to finally cooperate. But the relationships aren't the same, you know?
Yeah, because they know you crossed lines they wouldn't have crossed. Even if you eventually did the right thing, there's always going to be that judgment there about the choices you made.
Exactly, and I can't blame them for that. I made decisions that put me on the wrong side, and the fact that I eventually flipped doesn't erase the time I spent helping criminals protect their operation.
Man, Luis, this whole story is just layers of impossible choices and consequences. You went from trying to make a living to being trapped in a war you never wanted to fight.
That's exactly what it was, and I think a lot of people don't realize how fast this work can go, from standing at a door to making life or death decisions that follow you forever.
You made it out, though, and not everyone does. Some people end up dead, some end up in prison, some just disappear. You're sitting here talking about it, which means you survived when a lot of people wouldn't have.
I survived, but I lost a lot in the process. My federal career, my home, my kids' childhood, my peace of mind. Sometimes I wonder if survival was worth the price I paid.
I hear you, but you're here, your family is safe, and you got a chance to rebuild even if it's not the life you planned. That's got to count for something in the end.
Yeah, you're right. My kids are safe. My wife is safe. We're building a new life, even if it's harder than the old one. That's what matters most when everything else is stripped away.
I appreciate you sharing this story, brother. I know that wasn't easy to talk about, especially with all the weight you still carry from those decisions and what happened.
Thanks for giving me the space to tell it, man. I think people need to hear these stories so they understand what can happen when you compromise your principles, even with good intentions.
For everyone listening, this is what the protection perspective is all about. Real stories from real professionals who've been in impossible situations, who've had to make choices most people will never face. If you want to hear more stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the show, leave us a review, and share this episode with anyone in the security industry who needs to hear it. And if you've got a story you think we should hear, hit us up. You know where to find us, and we're always looking for real experiences from people who've been in the trenches. Stay safe out there, y'all. Remember that the money is never worth your life, your freedom, or your family's safety. Trust your instincts, and if something feels wrong, walk away before it's too late.
That's the best advice I can give anyone. Walk away when you still can, because once you're in deep, getting out alive becomes the only thing that matters.
Real talk, Luis. Appreciate you coming through and keeping it all the way real with us about what happened. That takes courage to admit the mistakes and own the consequences like you just did.
Thanks, Jay. I hope somebody hears this and makes a better choice than I did when they're faced with that moment where easy money is staring them in the face.
That's all we can do, bro. Share the lessons we learned the hard way so maybe someone else doesn't have to go through the same pain. All right, y'all. We out. Peace.
Take care of yourself, man.
You too, brother. And remember, you got people out here who understand what you went through. You're not alone in carrying that weight, even when it feels like it.
That means a lot for real. Sometimes you just need to hear that somebody else gets it without having to explain every detail.
Always. Until next time, everybody. This has been The Protection Perspective. Stay vigilant, stay smart, and most importantly, stay alive out there.